This is Tatooine Sons.
So did we talk a whole episode about The Last Jedi and not once mention Turbis?
I think so, but The Last Jedi is so much more than just Turbis.
Well,
There's so much to
It's
it.
an amazing.
I mean, we liked it before the whole Turbis thing.
We loved it.
Saw it
before
like
the
10
whole-
times or something.
Just a few.
Before
Turbis
the canon-changing moment.
We have an altered
true.
Star Wars
We have
canon.
altered Star Wars history.
We are.
We should be in like the
Should
official
we
Star Wars
open this?
encyclopedia.
Welcome to
We are what?
Star Wars
And let's
fans.
no.
The only fan podcast to name a Star Wars creature and be endorsed by the writer and the director of The Last
Looper.
Jedi, Rian Johnson.
Glass Onion or Knives
Wake Up
Out.
Dead Man.
What's your favorite what's your favorite Rian Johnson movie other than The Last Jedi?
I would have to say Wake Up Dead Man. That was amazing.
I can't think of any I've seen that aren't other than the Knives Out movies. What else has he done? Other than
He
I
did
haven't seen
Looper. He did Brick. I think that's pretty close to it.
There's another
He did a lot
one.
of.
There's another one I can't remember. It's a brother something. I can't remember what it is.
He did a lot of. I mean, he did a lot of.
They were
TV,
all
of
sort of
course.
just independent little things.
He did a ton of TV. I mean, he did a bunch of Breaking Bad stuff.
Breaking Bad, yeah.
And like
Poker
one of the
Face,
best episodes.
obviously, yeah.
Poker
Yeah.
Face. He did some. I think he may have done something with Community, if I'm not mistaken.
No, I don't think so.
Could be
I've
wrong
never heard
there.
him say anything about that.
But no, I would have to say like movie wise, Wake Up Dead Man.
Yeah,
that was
I'd agree.
amazing. It was a fantastic movie.
What are your when you think about this documentary, right? The
Director
that's
and
what we're
Jedi.
talking about. The Director and the Jedi,
Right.
Okay.
Which, mind you, took me forever to find on Disney Plus.
Same.
Well, I forgot to
searched
mention
it.
to you where it's at.
I
You
looked
can't
it
search
up.
on Disney Plus and
No,
find it.
because I looked it up and I'm like, it's not pulling up. Like, did they remove it somehow?
That's what I thought.
And then I was like, wait, it's probably in
It
the
was under
bonus
the
features.
extras.
And of course, it's at the very bottom. So my heart's
last.
like dropping more and more as I go through the 30 deleted scenes that they have. And then it's right
The
there.
only reason I knew it was on there was because I posted on X about how disappointed it was. I couldn't find it on there. It's not on. I was going to the Star Wars
right.
the
No,
Star
I don't
Wars
blame you.
channel.
Yeah.
Right. And
Looking
searching.
into the documentaries, and I couldn't find it. And I posted about it, and somebody within just a couple of minutes replied back. They were like, "Dude, it's under the extras under Last Jedi." I'm like, "Thank you." So I should have told you that. I forgot.
And then I
Figured it out.
accidentally backed out of it while I was watching it.
And it doesn't restart. It doesn't go back to where you're at.
That was so
because
frustrating.
it's a bonus feature.
Because it's only
and it
a
acts
bonus
like it
feature.
is. It shows you how far you've gone, but then it starts over again.
Yes.
That happened to me 3 times because I had it playing. It's not one you have to see everything on. You
No.
can just listen to it.
No, yeah.
And so I had it playing in the car while I was driving to one of my seminars.
It's okay.
I
You
did.
can admit you watched movies while you're driving. It's fine.
He's got a whole letterbox category for
Movies I watch
Driving
while
while I
driving.
was driving. I mean, I remember Sam and I watched Interstellar when we
Well,
were
that was because we were
driving
driving back from the Hans Zimmer concert, and it just felt appropriate. And also, we've seen it like 400 times, so
at one point. You were driving too. I was
Right.
just in the past.
I'd seen it plenty of times. I knew what was
watching
happening.
it.
Yeah,
were
you hear
listening
it.
to
Yeah,
It's that way for me with The Last Jedi.
most of Star Wars. I was
yeah.
doing I think I was doing a Lego or something the other day, and I had The Empire Strikes Back playing. I barely watched more than like 30 seconds of actually looking at the screen because I could just see it all in my head through the lines and stuff. So
It's cool. This documentary is one that, honestly, when watching it again, I've watched it twice in the last couple of weeks. Once because I just wanted to find it, and then I was like, okay,
We got
we're going to talk about it, so I'm going
Right.
to watch it again. It's one that I just can't believe got made for a lot of different reasons. We'll talk about some of those here. But when you think about this documentary, because that's probably been 6-7 years
been a
since you
minute.
guys have
Yeah,
seen it.
I remember
we watched
having-
it when we got the
Blu-ray.
the Blu-ray of this, and we had more. I don't know if we watched.
We
it
don't have the
since.
Blu-ray for Rise of Skywalker.
do we not?
We don't.
Oh,
Do we?
I don't think so.
I don't think so.
I think we just got it on Disney Plus. Or,
yeah.
Yeah, we just.
Or I
saw
think
it.
we did. I think we got a. I think it's on. Our
It's on like
Prime,
Amazon Prime
like
or something,
our
but we
movies
never
and
got it on
Yeah.
physical, which feels a
We
little
didn't get it on
weird
physical.
because
Do we own
I
all
really
the
do
other
want to
ones,
get the 4K bundle.
of all
Of all.
9.
Jeez.
It's like $130.
Yeah,
though.
but
It's
you get
worth
all
it,
9
though.
movies.
You do in 4K, fully remastered, ready to go. Even McGlunky.
McClunky.
So anyway, what's when you think of the director in The Last Jedi? Like, what's is there a scene? Is there a moment? Is there an element within it that just jumps out to you as being like, that one right there is what is fascinating for this?
You know what? Am I not allowed to speak?
No, you're
now?
not allowed to speak.
Okay.
You can go first. It's okay.
Well, unlike you, I was actually paying attention when I watched this.
If you take what I'm about to take, I'm going to lose my
I
mind.
might actually.
I'm genuinely going to lose my mind. Because, like, when I watched
he gave you the opportunity to go first.
I did.
No, you didn't.
Yes,
no,
he
you
did.
didn't.
You said
were
go
taking
first.
it, and I didn't want to be rude.
Okay. Now you're going to say it, and I'm hoping it's it.
It was all the practical effects.
I'm going to kill you. I'm going to kill you.
all the practical creatures and
I
stuff
have more of a
was
story
really
with
cool.
this. You're going to wait.
I
Okay,
know, and
so
I'm talking about those specifically, but I didn't realize how much of this movie was practical.
It isn't
I mean, they were
CG.
talking, it was like 140 sets or something
Yeah, it's
like
insane.
that, which is like unheard of for a movie. And then all the creatures and stuff.
That Canto bite scene,
permission
and
to
most
vote
of it got
got
cut.
I know. So sad. But also, he was just like a kid with a toy box and was having
Yeah.
so much fun. I don't think he cared.
The Warwick
whether or not.
Davis appearance was
The
cool,
little
where he's
dude.
like a little dude trying to like
That was
Naked,
so funny.
the naked like weird creature.
yeah,
It's-
the Cyclops looking.
Yeah.
That was great. But yeah, it was all the practical effects. I'm sorry, but
Okay.
it was
all right. You say you have more of a story, so
well,
Well,
it is.
yeah.
It's very much the practical effects, just with everything, and them going through even the discussion of whether the space alien cow is that going to be CGI? Are we even going to keep it in? And is it going to be
sea cow.
CGI? Is it going to be practical? What are they going to do? And Ryan kept fighting. He's like, practical. It needs to be practical. It's going to be a lot, but it's going to be like, this is what we're doing. Because let's just be honest. When it comes to visual effects, CGI, green screen, all of that's great. The heart of Star Wars is in practical
Always
effects,
has been.
especially with the creatures. And that's something Rian Johnson, specifically in this documentary, showed he knew made Star Wars magical. And that we see that all the time. And then we see it with the costumes, the props, the sets, like you were talking about. And this was really awesome. I was watching it with a friend last night, and he's not really into the sequel trilogy much. He doesn't think super highly of them. He's not against it.
he's one of the most positive people on the
Yes.
planet. So when he doesn't like something,
And it was
he just
so
doesn't
funny
watch it
because-
doesn't pay attention to it. Yeah.
It was so funny because he was talking about like these movies, and I'll go into a little bit of why this got onto this topic, but he was talking about it. He's like 9 times out of 10, if I'm talking with somebody about a movie that I really do like and they have a differing opinion, I usually just agree with them because I just don't want to argue. Which I see so much with people that don't like the sequel trilogy. And then they just kind of are like, well, a lot of people don't like this, so I'm just going to say I don't like it. And then haven't seen it in a while. But we're watching all this practical stuff, and he keeps watching it, and you can just see like a childlike wonder coming back, like, and he's just like, man, this is so cool. Like, I love movies and all of that. Just seeing all of this happen, and he's like, maybe this was actually a really good movie. Like, I need to rewatch
Maybe
this.
it was.
Maybe it was.
Maybe it was a masterpiece.
You can watch this and you understand how much went into this. There is so much passion. There is so much love, more than a lot of the other things that we've
Well.
seen in major studios now.
Yeah.
Like,
I know, I understand what you're saying. I will say, having watched, and I think we talked about this on the last episode some, but having watched the director's commentary for this and the director's comment for The Last Jedi and the director's commentary for The Force Awakens with JJ, there is not a doubt in my core being that both of them don't absolutely
of course.
love Star Wars and wanted
Yeah.
to put out the best possible Star Wars they could put out. And as we've talked about before, talked about it last week, as the one that's on the hive of scum and villainy known as X, Twitter, dealing with fans about this, there is this absurd narrative specifically about Rian, that Rian doesn't understand Star Wars, that Rian hates Star Wars fans, and intentionally went out to harm them by making
It's a movie.
this, like hurt their souls.
It's a movie,
for
y'all.
making this movie. And I'm like, if you watch this documentary, the director and the Jedi, and don't walk away from it honestly with a respect and even an admiration for Rian Johnson, I just don't think that we can see Star Wars the same way. I'm not trying to be mean to people that don't like The Last Jedi. I'm not talking about you have to like The Last Jedi if you watch this documentary. I'm saying if you walk away and you're convinced that Rian Johnson doesn't understand Star Wars, doesn't like Star Wars, doesn't want to put out the best possible thing, and was trying to actually just hurt Star Wars fans, like some people say, I just don't know if we can have a conversation about Star Wars with someone like that. Do you understand where
I understand where you're coming from. It's just this. It's shown time and time again how much he truly appreciates what Star Wars was and wants to bring it to what it could be. That's what I felt from it. Like, he understands and wants to use some of the same practices, but we have technology that can make it even better. But we don't have to kind of go around it and just use CGI for everything, which has become a problem in major studio films nowadays. And then there was one moment where they were like talking about the set specifically in Snoke's throne room, and they're using the iPad to visualize what the green screen was going to look like. My mind was blown. I did not remember that, but it's such an awesome tool to be able to use.
What part when you say your mind was blown? What
fact
was
that
your mind?
Even a technology that can be used, while it's an amazing thing, it's using that technology to increase how the sets can play with that. It's hard to build the sets and not be able to see what's going to be on that green screen and just assume what is going to happen. But when you can actually see what's going to be back there, you can enhance the set so much.
But the Snoke's throne room was fully practical.
Well, once
the walls were green screen.
No, they were curtains.
It's when the curtains burn up and go down. I think that.
Is that it? No, because those curtains were legitimately curtains.
Right.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
It's when like they were showing space, like all the stuff around.
Yeah, because he talks about this Ryan, I'm not sure if he did it on that or if it was in an interview, but when they were designing that set, he was trying to come up with the idea for it, and he knew he wanted it 100% red, and they were talking about using curtains, but the curtains weren't going to look right. They were going to look like curtains, and he didn't want them to look like curtains. And then he remembered going to a production of Madame Butterfly on Broadway where they used red curtains in the same style as they do in Snoke's throne room, and it worked. And so he found video, like a video of that production, and he took it to the set designers and said, that's what we're trying to go for. So they researched and found out how they did it.
That's awesome.
So it's 100% production.
That's also awesome.
Yeah. I mean,
but he clearly has a passion.
Yeah.
And he wants us to be the best it can. So does JJ. It's just they had differing opinions on what that looked like, which, guess what? So do Star Wars fans. Yeah, so it's like, to say that one actively hates Star Wars or is a evil, or I don't know what the words are, the language they use. But to say that about either of the directors is to say that about, anyone on Twitter who has a different opinion, which I'm sure happens all the time. All the time. But I don't think, just because someone likes The Last Jedi, they're not a Star Wars fan. Or they have a different opinion on what the Star Wars should look like, they're not a Star Wars fan. I think everyone has personal biases and things that they want to see in Star Wars, and that's just going to bleed into their opinions. But I think most of the time, for everyone, and Rian Johnson included, they just want to see Star Wars be the best it can be. So,
the one thing that struck me really, in a pretty intense way, watching this documentary both times, was how absolutely radical the transparency is.
Yeah.
In this. When do you think they made the now? From what I understand, they decided they were going to do a behind the scenes documentary, like they've done on lots of different films.
It's not uncommon.
And Ryan and Ron Bergman's his producer. He's been his producer on everything he's ever done, right? Which that's fascinating in this movie or in this documentary as well, watching the relationship between the two of them. But Ron Bergman and Ryan sat down and said, okay, they want to do behind the scenes stuff constantly about this. how do we want this to be? And they're like, we want it to be a fully produced documentary. And so they found a documentary filmmaker and brought him in to do this. And they said, mic everybody up, cameras everywhere, hold nothing back. Your story, your documentary, you make the film that you a documentary of what you see, not what you think we want to be put out with this. What kind of risk do you feel like? Do you think? Okay, let me ask it this way: do you think Rian Johnson, Ron Bergman, Kathleen Kennedy had any idea that going into this film and the shooting of all of these things, that it would result in the level of raw disagreement that we see in this, specifically between Mark and Rian, especially early on, and the openness that Mark has in this documentary talking about, I fundamentally disagree with this version of Luke Skywalker. Do you think they knew that was going to be coming in? Or do you think that, man, when they're shooting this thing, they're doing this, they're filming this, we're just seeing what everybody else is learning as they're learning it? What are your thoughts on that?
I think Rian, he even may have alluded to it in the documentary. I can't quite remember, but I think he knew that Mark was not going to be a huge fan of the characterization going forward or going into it. So I don't think that Mark's reaction would have been too much of a surprise, but I don't know if they could have predicted at how honest he was going to be in the documentary. He was very brutally honest in his opinions.
Yeah.
So,
yeah, I think it was, I don't know if the studio or the people that were behind it that asked for it to be made could ever have imagined that it was going to be the level of, it was so personal and in so many aspects. It reminds me a lot of the Wick is Pain documentary, which I know that you two haven't seen, but the documentary on how they made the John Wick movies.
Oh, really?
Insanely personal and felt a lot like this, and it was really transparent, and you're like moments where it's even uncomfortable to watch because you're like, this is intense because you're seeing everything behind the scenes that's going on. And when it came to this, it's a fundamental disagreement on the biggest character in the franchise, from the actor who plays him and this new hotshot director that's coming in to do it. Which side do you take?
I mean, yeah, that's fair.
And it really, that question you just asked, Nathan, is honestly kind of where the line seems to divide people.
I know.
On this movie. It feels like everybody says you have to choose a side between Rian and Luke or Mark on this, even though you can find as much evidence later on after the film is released where Mark is saying, oh no, Rian got it right. There's video of him. We've shared it on our account. Video of Mark at the red carpet saying that The Last Jedi is his favorite movie after Star Wars movie after Empire Strikes Back. I mean, the reality is the feelings though that Mark expresses in this documentary are the feelings of millions.
Absolutely.
Of true diehard,
yes, honest,
not toxic, not Star Wars Rian Johnson killed my childhood. I'm talking like real fans that struggle with The Last Jedi.
Yeah.
They really Mark is a voice for them in this documentary. How do you think they handle that part of it? Because it's a through line.
It is
from the beginning all the way to the end.
It's really intense because there are moments when you see Rian and Mark together, just even on set, and you can feel the tension. Mm-hmm. You can see it on Mark's face. He's not particularly happy with whatever is going on, and I think that you can see that through the entire point. But a moment that I felt, I don't fully remember if they talked about this or not, but from what I was seeing with it, it felt like it really changed in him during the moment with Yoda.
Yeah.
That
I would agree.
Felt like a turning point.
Explain more why you feel like that.
Because when it felt like when Mark Hamill was seeing Frank Oz doing the rehearsals with Yoda,
A physical
with
puppet
physical
Yoda.
Yoda, and seeing him start to cry, I think it clicked in him that he saw a little bit of himself in the Yoda that was in Empire Strikes Back, in this character of Luke. And I think it just clicked in him of like, I have grown way past what I thought Luke would be at this point, this many years later. And he started tearing up, and then they filmed the scene with it. And you can, I feel like in the movie, you can see it, and you can see it in this documentary. That's the time when you can tell Mark Hamill is the most into it. And from that point on, even in the movie, he goes full blown. You can see it in the movie.
It's almost like Mark's arc
is
in the
Luke's
documentary
arc.
is
Yes.
Luke's arc in The Last Jedi.
Yes.
He's reluctant. He's grumpy. He's pushing back.
And that could be a well-edited documentary.
It could be.
Too. But I think going, building off of the whole Yoda thing, there's some clips where they talk about, I think it's the creature department or something was saying that Rian fought to have a puppet Yoda.
Yep.
He
Not
was
the
like,
CG Yoda
he's like,
from Attack of the Clones. and
Ryan or
Phantom
whoever
and all
was
that.
saying like, Mark isn't going to be able to act the way he needs to if he's talking to a CGI creature. He's like, it has to be real.
So they found the original.
So they found the mold and made another Yoda. And
found
I think,
the puppet, the puppet, the guy that designed the original.
right.
I'm going to be really honest here. If we don't get that moment with Yoda, I don't think we get all the puppets that we have in Mandalorian and Grogu.
No, yeah. But I think
change.
I think what makes that so important is I think Mark Hamill, I can't, I'm speculating obviously.
Sure, we all are. That's all we can do.
Yeah.
But it to me it would almost seem like he saw the effort to make sure that this was done right for his character in that moment. Like they sought out the original mold, made a physical puppet, brought Frank Oz back to do the puppeteering again, just so Luke and Yoda could have a proper moment. That's a lot of effort to go into when they could just CGI it again. And I think that might have shown Mark, Ryan does care about this character and does want this done right. And you're right. That scene is absolutely critical for Luke in that movie. And
It's interesting to think about how that scene in The Last Jedi, the time on screen for Yoda and Luke is significantly greater than the amount of time that they had on screen together in Return of the Jedi. It's Return of the Jedi. It's one scene. Luke comes back from Tatooine, goes to Dagobah, not Empire, not
yeah,
Empire.
I was like, I was thinking
Return of
Empire
the
for some
Jedi,
reason
yeah.
because I'm thinking middle in the trilogy.
Right. Return of the Jedi.
Yeah.
He comes there. All of a sudden,
Hey, why didn't you
tell me about my dad? I want to go take a nap, and he dies. And
A little more to it than that, but yeah, roughly it's
honestly,
about
they weren't
that
even going to
quick.
bring Yoda back.
Yeah?
No, they had said that we're not going to bring Yoda into this movie, and then they were like, some people were like, George,
Bring Yoda.
you need to have Yoda in this movie with that. And so this not just gives a great moment between Yoda and Luke, it also gives Mark 30 years later, 40 years later almost, an opportunity to have a really powerful moment at the end of his Star Wars journey with that character, which made Luke who Luke is in The Empire Strikes Back.
Yeah.
It's powerful. What surprised you most? I mean, we talked about the practical stuff. We talked about the transparency. What surprised you most in this documentary?
It's something that surprised me, and we talked about it before. Ryan's Star Wars knowledge is insane, and his filmmaking knowledge is crazy. But it was how much joy and fun he had making this movie.
Yeah, that's
He
true.
looked like a kid every day showing up to work, and yet he held himself with such professionality and so much poise, especially when interacting with Laura Dern and Carrie Fisher in their moment, especially in their moment at the end where they're saying goodbye.
Yeah.
And he was watching it, and you could see he was like, it was one moment he was having fun, and the next it starts, and afterwards he's like, it was just so good, like so calm. And it was so professional. And you can just tell he's such a master of his craft with this. And he still finds time to have so much fun because you're making a Star Wars movie. Have fun with it.
Right.
And so like,
wait, Star Wars is supposed to be fun?
I know, it's crazy.
Whoa.
Right? And it's supposed to bring that like childlike joy, something that I think Ryan got down really,
which honestly
really
makes me very sad now, because of the way that Star Wars fandom has basically shoved him out to where he can't even interact. When this movie came out, and for almost a year afterwards,
he was all over.
Rian Johnson stepped to the plate as a director of a Star Wars super billion-dollar movie and took the questions at screening. But more than that, interacted on Twitter, constantly went back in. People send us on our Twitter. They're like, did you see this screenshot of what he said in 2018 or what he said in 2025 about it? But the point is, when looking back in 2018, it was sort of this beautiful moment where a director was willing to say, I know so many of you are having a hard time with this movie, and I'm okay with being open to having a conversation with you about it. And we have the fandom has shoved him into the side on that, and that breaks my heart, because in this documentary we see someone who loves Star Wars.
Yeah, I mean, every time he would the props department would be like, hey, check out this new creature, and he'd get all giddy.
Yeah,
and
exactly.
Because that's what I would do.
Like the Canto Bight moment when they're filming all the cars like exploding and all that stuff. He just has a huge grin. He's just laughing. He's just like, this is so cool.
Any single one of us would do. If you, it's going to be what we're going to do when we walk, if we ever go to the Lucas Museum.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
And we see all those props. Oh, man, we're going to be like a kid in a candy store. We're going to be doing the same thing, because that's what a Star Wars fan would do.
He cared so much about the fans and just people in general with it. When he was filming the Canto Bight sequence, I think so. I was like, wait, this feels lower. But when he was filming the Canto Bight sequence, and he just had hundreds of people come in to try out for the aliens, and then the guy that played an alien from episode 4 was there.
Cantina.
Yeah,
like.
That was cool.
And he walks up to Ryan and just starts telling him, I was in episode 4. I was in
pictures and all this. It's like, it's just, he cares so much about the community and everything he just cared about Star Wars fandom and movie as a whole, of what was going to happen. And it was just like shot down so quick. And I'm so glad that he didn't stop making movies, because he's done some of his best work.
He's got a new one coming out. It's going to be a sci-fi. It's getting ready to come out.
What is it?
With Warner Brothers. I don't even know. That's all I know right now. I've heard people say, because there's this whole thing with Netflix has said, basically, if you're wanting to have a theatrical release,
don't get to work with them.
Don't work with us anymore. I retweeted that, and I was like, I guess it's time for Ryan to come back to Star Wars and start making his trilogy. And somebody replied back, he does have a sci-fi movie coming out with Warner Brothers here soon. He's working on it. And I did hear an interview from the press tour of Wake Up Dead Men, where he talks about he's got something else in the works right now.
That's cool. So exciting. Yeah. So exciting. I'm glad, because he's made some of his best work since Last Jedi.
Yeah, I don't think anybody really dogs on the Knives Out trilogy.
No. I mean, some people are like, Glass Onion's okay, which I think I really enjoyed.
I thought Glass Onion was fine.
But Wake Up Dead Man is
I would rank it the lowest, but that doesn't mean it's bad. But he's a good director. He makes good movies. Director. And that extends to Star Wars. And it's so frustrating that people just can't seem to see that.
And he has such a good environment when he makes movies, or he wouldn't be having all of these A-list actors coming in begging to be in the Knives Out movie, and then working these many movies with just Daniel Craig and his producer showing up for every single one of his movies. People working with him time and time again, DPs, composers, all of that stuff.
I would love a Knives Out movie, a Benoit Blanc movie, where
it's all the sequel trilogy cast. I've heard that.
Oscar, John Boyega, Mark Hamill.
Yeah.
I mean, it would be he would be perfect.
Daisy Ridley,
all of them.
Kelly Marie Tran.
Adam Driver.
Yeah.
That
No, it would
a
be
fantastic.
It would be so much fun. It wouldn't
honestly,
happen,
it would
but-
be healing. If you think about it,
Yeah.
if all of those actors came together and were like on a set for 4 months filming a movie with Ryan,
Completely separate from Star Wars.
separate from the Star Wars stuff, and they do it, and then it goes out, and everybody watches it and loves it. It'd be kind of cathartic for a lot of
It
people.
really would, honestly.
Seeing all of them together doing that with a Ryan directed movie, and Mark going on a press tour with him saying this was awesome and this was so much fun, and Daniel Craig being a part of it, and then them bringing in a Star Wars movie and then bringing him back to do that. That would be that would be fantastic. What most surprised you? I know that Nathan was kind of talking about that.
Dominated that. My bad.
I mean, I was gonna say it was the transparency because I mean, Mark's comments really are striking. Like that they would put them in there at all. Maybe his, for lack of a better term, Mark Hamill's arc throughout the documentary is clever editing, but to put those comments in there at all is a bold move, because if you're making a documentary about your movie, typically you want it to end on a high note or like to paint your movie in a good light. So to put any sort of negative comments, especially from, I don't know, the guy who played Luke Skywalker in your documentary at all, is a gutsy move. Now it ends up coming together at the end of the documentary, but I was just surprised how upfront and transparent he was with those comments, and then putting that in the documentary.
Yeah. I think the most surprising part of that is I don't think they had any idea how those comments were going to end up living well beyond that, and basically dominating the narrative on The Last Jedi.
Well, but you got to think they also probably didn't expect the reaction to The Last Jedi that it got either. So, you know, how would they know?
It's funny. I was listening to an interview with Ryan where he talks about being in between screenings the week it came out, like early screenings, like, you know, like they do the 2 or 3 days before the movie releases kind of stuff in LA. And he was it was a theater that was connected to a mall, right? So he goes to one screening, and people are, you know, super excited, and it was awesome, right? And then he's got another one starting in like 3 hours. And so rather than having his car come pick him up, because that's what they wanted, right? They wanted somebody to come pick him up, take him to someplace else, and then he was going to have like 20 minutes to do something and then get back by the time they had to get back and all this other stuff. He's like, I'm just going to go can I just hang out at the mall? So he went to the mall and was eating at the food cart, and then Twitter. From the screenings.
Yeah.
And he's like, and this is before any critics reactions or anything. And it was just like pummeling over this Luke stuff. And he's like, these are like the earliest showings. Right. And he's like, whoa, what is about to happen with this? I don't think anybody had any idea that this was going to be what it is. And I know that if there was any podcast in the world that is going to look less credible on criticizing Ryan, I mean, we're just not going to criticize him. We love the guy.
Yeah.
Yeah. You have to take our opinions with a massive grain of salt.
Because we love the movie, and we've loved the movie since
day one.
Although we don't talk about this nearly as much. That drive home, Nathan brings it up to me occasionally. I was
you did.
I was struggling on the drive home.
That.
Like, I don't know. That was a lot. That was hard to take in. I mean, Luke's dead. That what was this all about? You know, why did this happen the way it did? All of this. The thing that I always come back to with The Last Jedi is hearing your thoughts. Because the sequel trilogy was for your generation, and hearing you guys say, yeah, but then this and that, and this is what's going on. And he's not Luke Skywalker. You guys didn't really care much about Star Wars before the sequel trilogy.
No.
I would make
we enjoyed it, but
you enjoyed it.
I
were
would
not
play with
there.
lightsabers in the backyard and stuff when I was a kid.
Because it's fun.
Yeah.
But if I wanted to do this on my birthday, a machete order, including Phantom Menace rewatch, you guys, you muscled through it, but it was not something you were super.
I mean, the original trilogy was a slog to get through. We get to the prequels because they had cool fights, but that was about all we cared about.
And then we had to go to Return to finish it all out.
Right.
With that. Yeah. Which is great.
Which I loved Return.
Yeah.
But
But
Now,
the
our
point I'm
opinions
making
have
is
changed
It
since
wasn't
then.
your story.
No.
Luke Skywalker wasn't your hero. It was hard. It was not hard like in like the way people say, some people say it is for them. But it was like, wow, I don't know. Right. And hearing you guys talk about Yoda and that the greatest teacher failure is, and we are what they grow beyond, and me having a chance to sit back and be very light side in my approach towards this. It was like, I remember getting home. We dropped off your friend Bryce that was with us that night. We dropped him off, getting home and saying, exhale. I liked the movie. I just need to see it again. And that's when we saw it 10 times.
Right.
Right.
Yeah, and I think there was even, correct me if I'm wrong, but wasn't there a moment in the documentary where Ryan's talking to Mark and he's like, says something like, "You're not the hero of this trilogy," or something
he's
like
not
that?
the hero.
Like, you're
just
not.
straight up, this isn't your trilogy. You're not the hero of this trilogy, which is going to rub some people the wrong way.
Brave.
But you have to accept that fact. It's not about Luke in the third trilogy, which is weird because it's still part of the Skywalker saga, so it makes it a little confusing. But ultimately, yeah, it's not Luke's story. Is he critical to the story? Absolutely, but it's not his anymore. Just like, well, I mean, obviously it can't be, but the prequels weren't his story either because he wasn't even around.
Sure.
But the trilogies have to follow different characters because that's how they work. The sequel trilogy is about Rey. I mean, that's who the main character is. And so you have to be willing to surrender to that fact. And, I get it for like people of your generation or even just a generation right before ours. Luke's a big deal. And since I've watched the original trilogy more and stuff, I've grown to appreciate Luke more. I love the character of Luke. But that still doesn't make him the focus of the sequel trilogy.
He was not the protagonist of this trilogy.
No, he was not the main character that you followed. And that's a tough pill to swallow. If they did a 10, 11, 12 at some point for Star Wars, it's probably not going to follow Rey.
It is going to follow Rey.
Okay.
They're going to do it closer to. See, that's the other thing that people don't want to really speak into. Carrie Fisher, Harrison Ford, and Mark Hamill were not going to be able to be a 5 years after Return of the Jedi style characters in this. You can't. It is 30 years. People are like, his arc isn't he's not the same character as he was in Return of the Jedi.
Yeah, it's been 30 years.
It's been 30 years.
I mean, look at how much we've changed in 7 years.
8 years, 9 years of doing this podcast.
Right. I mean, that it's a silly mindset to have, to think that after such a long amount of time, you're the same. Maybe that's kind of part of the problem with some Star Wars fans. Maybe kind of being a little rough there, but maybe they can't change their mindset after so many years, and that's part of the problem. They're stuck thinking one way as opposed to changing like people do. And that's what happened with the characters. It's what's supposed to happen with characters and people. You grow and you change throughout your seasons of life. That happened with Luke. And he had some pretty crazy stuff happen to him in the story. So it would make sense that he would be a little different than we see him in Return.
That's something that animation can do so well. You don't need the physicality. And that's something that Rebels was able to hit.
And here's the solution to the sequel trilogy is a Clone Wars-esque animated series set between Return of the Jedi and The Force Awakens that allows them to tie in the story of Luke and Leia and Han and Lando, and you can get great voiceover characters that sound like them, but you can do all the crazy Jedi stuff, and you can have all the great relationship between Leia and Han, and you can show who Snoke is, and you could show who Ben, the fall of Ben, and you can deal with the stuff with Ochi of Bestoon, and you can deal with the rise of the First Order, and you can deal with all of that stuff. And the reason that the prequel trilogy is as beloved as it is today is because they had 7 seasons of the Clone Wars to flesh that story out. The only way we truly see a fully embraced sequel trilogy is if they get to do that again. And I
feel like we're too far past that, though.
No, I don't think that we are. I think that you start bringing in some great Luke stories. You bring in some great, in the same type of style maybe as what they're doing with Shadow Lord, and that same level of gravitas that they brought into that. And you're going to start seeing some really crazy resurgence. And I think they have to do that. I would say they probably need to do that before they start going back to sequel trilogy or Skywalker saga 10, 11, 12 type stuff.
Yeah,
that's my
maybe.
opinion.
Yeah,
I agree.
And there is actually casting that has been come out that they're casting an animated show of some sort right now. We don't know what it is. There's a lot of reputable things out there.
Rebels Part 2.
No, not Rebels.
That's Ahsoka.
It's yeah, exactly.
Rebels Part 3.
We talked a little bit, I'm going to touch on one more piece to what you guys were just talking about, how it's, Luke was not your hero from your generation. We were talking about that. I couldn't help but feel like it's the same thing that Pastor talked about at church today. When he talked about that, where he literally looked at the senior citizens in the church as they had VBS stuff on stage.
All these bright colors, crazy
100%
decorations.
gracious in the way he said it, and 100% honest with it. And he said, "This isn't about you anymore." Because churches die because they stay being about the 40-year-olds that turn 50 and the 50-year-olds that turn 60 and the 60-year-olds that turn 70 and the 70-year-olds that turn 80 and then the 80-year-olds that die, and there is no more church.
Right.
And if the church is going to continue to stay active and relevant, they're going to have to reach a new generation. And he talked about that, and that is no different when it comes to something as insignificant in comparison as something like Star Wars.
I mean, it's what we said was happening with Mando and Grogu.
Yeah.
That movie is the exact same mindset. You have to ignore the quote unquote old folks who are going to have a fuss about it and focus on bringing in the next generation. And it's tough. It's really tough for the people who are on the old folks side of things, which in terms of Star Wars things, Nathan and I are getting to that point almost. I mean, once Ahsoka's over, maybe we'll get the Rey stuff, and that would kind of tie back to things from our generation. But once Ahsoka's over, the stuff that we grew up with, that we identify with, mainly Rebels, is pretty much done. Unless they do something more, but it's unlikely. And then it's going to be the next generation of stories for the next generation of Star Wars fans. And that's going to be a tough thing to see. We'll probably watch it and we'll probably enjoy it because we tend to have that mindset with everything with Star Wars.
Like Star
it's
Wars.
actually a way nicer mindset to have. You should try it. It's very relaxing.
It is.
But it'll still be a tough pill to swallow.
Yeah, of course.
To realize, they're not making Star Wars for us anymore.
Yeah.
Doesn't mean you can't engage with it.
Right, absolutely. We talked about the director commentary for The Last Jedi and the director's commentary for this and the radical transparency of this thing. I do find it interesting that when you get to The Rise of Skywalker and you go in there to Disney Plus where the extras are and you look for extras, they have deleted scenes and that's it. You don't have a director's commentary for the Rise of Skywalker. You don't have any kind of a behind the scenes documentary for The Rise of Skywalker.
Do we know if they included one on the Blu-ray?
I don't think they didn't. I don't believe so. I don't believe they did. Do you feel like taking in The Last Jedi as such a controversial film in the Star Wars canon and a documentary at that level of transparency, which has your primary super character from the history of Star Wars, basically saying, I fundamentally disagree with everything that you're doing with this character to the director, and that got latched onto. Do you think that has to do with part of the reason why we don't have some of that with The Rise of Skywalker?
Absolutely.
Yeah,
absolutely.
I think partly, and I think another part of it is the backlash of The Last Jedi scared them in many ways. It scared them away from the director that they originally had.
Yeah.
Well, that has happened before The Last Jedi released.
Oh, because
he had
a movie
Finding
that
Daniel, Book of Henry.
Book of Henry flopped, and
that
they got
flopped,
scared.
and it showed how quickly and severely they react to negative feedback. So when Star Wars: Last Jedi had an immense amount of negative feedback, it was like, we don't need. And then like you're saying, it got lashed onto. It's like, we don't need anybody to know anything.
Well, I mean, do you blame them? Why give them field of their potential field of the fire that might burn when you could just not do any of it?
They had to change it, and it's like, we don't.
I mean, it doesn't provide them any benefit to give fans behind the scenes looks and director commentary. It's completely ancillary, not ancillary. I don't know if that's the right word, but it's completely side to the story. You're making a movie for people to watch the movie. All the other stuff is just bonus. It's why it's called bonus features, I guess. So it doesn't hurt them not to have it in there. If anything, it would hurt them probably to put them in there if there was backlash. So I don't blame them at all for wanting to play it safe.
And it's not like J.J. Abrams has had an amazing track record with movies. That's what it's just. I don't know.
J.J. Abrams is an amazing,
he's
amazing
phenomenal.
reboot a saga like
Yes.
a story. His reboot of Star Trek was
Amazing.
phenomenal.
Did he
in my
do
opinion.
the second one too?
Yeah,
He did the first two.
and
He didn't do
Into
the third
Darkness had a very similar reaction to Last
It
Jedi.
did,
it?
and it's my favorite of
That
those
one's so
movies.
good.
A lot of people hate Into Darkness.
What?
Because they don't like how it switches up with Kirk and Spock at the end. Like,
Yeah, they flip those
Kirk
stories.
sacrifices
I thought that was
himself.
great.
They think Khan is annoying and isn't a great version of Khan.
And they
No, I
they
think
said
he's
that they lied that because they didn't want to reveal that it was Khan. So they had said that throughout all the previous press
It's
and
not.
stuff that it's not Khan, and then it comes out that it was.
Oh, and all of the Spider-Man actors said
Yeah,
they weren't in
we
No
don't
Way
care.
Home, and nobody had a problem
We
with
don't
that.
care.
What?
Yeah,
That's such a good movie too.
It's an amazing
It's
movie.
not as good as The Last Jedi, but it's good.
it's the best one of the reboot
Of the
Kelvin
Into
timeline.
Darkness.
There's no doubt.
Yeah.
Well, actually, I can't say that. I haven't seen Beyond, but I need to
I've
watch
never
it.
used it.
I
You saw
found
it?
okay. Beyond's fun.
I didn't care for it.
I rewatched it.
Okay,
I did the thing.
you did the
I
thing.
waited a few years after thinking it wasn't that good, rewatched it, and found myself really enjoying it more.
So should I watch that later?
Yes.
Okay.
Well, you can
Anyway,
go to
we're
Barnes
off
and Noble.
topic.
You should go to Barnes and Noble and get the 3-pack.
I'm not paying money
Blu-ray
for it.
for
if I can get away with
$10.
it.
Or Star Wars podcast, not a Star Trek podcast.
It's
What are we doing
$10
here?
for
We're getting,
three
we're getting
physical.
off topic here.
3 movies on physical
Starting
on
to
Blu-ray.
twitch.
Come on.
You've been hanging around with Claire's dad too much.
No, yeah.
It's Nathan's dad.
Yes.
is a big
Nathan's
Star
dad?
Trek fan.
Wi-
Yeah. Or
Claire's dad.
Nathan's girlfriend's dad.
His
There you go.
birthday gift I got him was the director's cut of the Star Trek original motion picture remastered version.
That's cool.
And he said,
Doesn't he have
it
the
was
Lego
so good. He has the Lego
Enterprise?
Enterprise.
That's insane.
It's massive.
Anyway,
and he's
He
also
came,
now
he came to lunch today and wanted to see all the.
he's
Legos
also
we
now
built,
like
so.
buying pieces and then buying like brickables
Yep.
of Star Trek ships, like the Klingon ship and all this
Building
stuff. It's
special
really
sets.
impressive.
Like, yeah, it's
It's
cool. He showed me pictures of it today.
It's really
Anyway,
cool. That's
JJ's
cool.
a good director.
JJ is a good director.
I gotta write the ship. JJ's a good director.
But he's had controversy with
Yes.
Into Darkness.
I mean,
And they still chose him to make it.
that's a good point.
They got scared after The Last Jedi
yeah.
and decided, let's just be as safe as we can be. And as we said before, with Star Wars, it's the best when you take risks. And they didn't. And it just fell flat. It just didn't hit it right. And it was just, yeah. So I think that is, the reason.
Yeah, I think they were just playing it safe.
Does watching the director and the director and the Jedi? Oh my gosh! Does that change the way you view the Last Jedi film,
The way I view it, in a
or
way,
your thoughts, or
it gives me even more appreciation for it. And this is what I love about the behind the scenes documentary. And I can even go to like the documentaries for Lord of the Rings and all that stuff. It's like, oh my gosh, there isn't just like 40, 50, 100 people that made this movie. There are thousands of people that cared for this movie. And every one of them put their heart and soul into this craft, into making this, and seeing Ryan care for each aspect of it as much as he did. It's just like, this is art. You cannot deny that. While it's a franchise movie and it may not be like high art, cerebral cinema, it's an amazing piece of his creative heart on a platter for the world to see, and something that he was truly proud of. And that's, after watching this documentary, it's like, wow, yeah, this is a Rian Johnson movie. This isn't a Star Wars movie. And he was taking pride in that, because he made it the way that he felt like Star Wars needed to be made for him to give his vision of what he wanted Star Wars to be.
But I think also...
That's not a problem. That's a great thing.
I think also he made a good Star Wars movie.
He made a great Star Wars movie.
What the trilogy needed.
But what I'm saying is, he made it his own.
Well, sure.
He didn't follow the formula of Star Wars. He made it his own. Yeah. That's what it was, first and foremost.
Force Awakens was very JJ in a lot of ways, too,
very much so, with as many lens flares as it had. My gosh.
Does it change the way you view The Last Jedi?
I mean, it does make me appreciate how much care and thought was put into the movie. That really comes across it. And I'm not saying other Star Wars movies don't have that. But you can really feel the heart behind this movie. If anything, it just makes me even more sad that people just can't seem to appreciate this movie. And it makes me even more sad that...
Not for us. It doesn't hurt us.
It doesn't hurt us.
It actually makes me sad for them.
That's what I'm meaning. That's what
I wish you loved this as much as I did.
Right,
Yes.
because it's good. It's a good movie. It's a great movie. And I think it's just disappointing, because I feel like the way the trilogy ended, if the trilogy ended a different way, or we've said this before, but if The Rise of Skywalker did things a little differently, I think it would have further elevated The Last Jedi, and more people could have appreciated it like we do. So it's just very, it's saddening for me in the way that, I mean, I feel sad for the people who can't appreciate this movie the way we can, because it is a great Star Wars movie with great characterizations and a great story and cool moments. I mean, the throne room fight scene is incredible with the Praetorian Guards and all that. It's a great movie, and it's just saddening that people just can't seem to see it.
If you were to have a conversation with somebody like Higgy, or somebody that maybe was even a little less positive but open, like, don't like The Last Jedi, don't like the sequel trilogy, specifically because of The Last Jedi. And they were, you were having a conversation with them about this film. Would you recommend, maybe before going back and watching The Last Jedi, if they're not ready for that, would you recommend them going back and watching this documentary
100%.
And then seeing if that changes their viewpoint on whether or not they want to watch it?
Because if they're willing to watch the documentary and they do actually watch it, I think that they will already be in the right headspace to understand The Last Jedi more, and just truly feel what it was going for. Yeah,
that's the thing.
Sure.
You have to have an open mind going into it, and I don't think anyone.
And you have to have an open mind going into any movie.
Well, true, but I feel like most people who have made up their mind about The Last Jedi aren't going to take the time to sit down and watch a documentary about a movie they don't like.
Right.
To then watch the movie that they don't like to try to see if they suddenly like it. Unfortunately, I just don't think many people are going to do that. And I'm not saying I would too. There's movies I don't like that I just kind of would be like, man, maybe I don't really want to give that any more of my time. And so I can't really judge them too harshly. But I think if someone were really willing, had the mindset, okay, I'm going to give this another shot, I think they would really benefit from watching this documentary first and then going back and watching The Last Jedi, because it really does highlight how much care and thought was put into this movie.
100%.